My name is Joel Pallissard. I'm from Lincoln Way East High School. I'm the associate head football coach and offensive coordinator for the Lincoln Way East Griffins. We're going to talk about a few of our running plays today and a situation with our passing game that we're going to elaborate on and talk on with various coaching points to it, various aiming points by the positions, talking a little bit of formations along with their splits and their alignments off of these plays. The first play we're going to work on today and talk about is our trap. Now in our scheme, in our terminology, we say the whole number and then what we're actually going to do. So in this particular play, we're going to run our 0-1 trap. We like to run it versus even or odd fronts, depending on the type of personnel we have. If you can look at this particular play here, we're running one trap here because our fullback is hitting it on the left side. We talked about basically our philosophy behind our offense. We talked about our formations. And now we're talking about some of our plays with the offense. So this one would be our one trap here. We're going to go through all the type of blocking scheme and blocking rules and coaching points with this. I first want to get to the language here and some of the verbiage that we use with this particular play and some of our rules. Now this particular play we can run out of any formation. It can be our regular ace formation, it can be our spread, it could be a ruby yellow, it could be our red or blue. We can run with any motion, our Rose and Load, our Roger and Larry motion. So we have the flexibility to run this play with any of those formations or motions. Our alignments of this play are going to vary depending on the personnel we have, depending on how we're attacking. Our general rule is to have the guards and tackles about 3.5 feet. So we can go with 3.5 feet or 4.5 feet depending on the personnel, and our center and guards are about 2.5. So we can keep it a general split in that case. Let's take a look at some of the verbiage we used by our positions. Our center in this particular play is blocking back. Okay, so if we're running one trap, he's blocking to his right, away from the hole. Our hole numbering system, briefly, is odds to the left, evens to the right. So in this particular play, he's blocking back. Versus an odd front, he's going to block on. And you'll see the two fronts, we'll show it. Our front side guard is versus an even front, he's blocking down, if anybody's inside, to the backside inside linebacker. If it's an odd front, he's blocking down on that zero technique to the backside inside linebacker. Our front side tackle and our backside tackle are what we call ear hole blocks. We're trying to knock that linebacker out with the correct footwork, the correct steps, and working from low to high. Our backside guard is a trapper. He's going to trap the first guy on or past that particular hole. Our X and our Y receiver, if it's man-to-man, they're going to have a runoff situation where they're just going to run right off and have that man go with them in that man-to-man defensive situation. Our zone, we're going to run out there and we're going to stalk block him. Our running backs, which is our Z and our T, if he is play side, he's going to take a lateral step and work himself up in front of the hole and try to block either the free safety or the strong safety, depending on who it is. If he is the ball carrier, or if he is the backside man, he's going to motion and he's going to fake like he's running off tackle. Our H is going to be the ball carrier. Okay, he's going to step opposite side and then kind of bend his way downhill. His aiming point is the center's rear end. So if the center's blocking back, he is going to go right where that center's rear end is and kind of adjust his path along the way. Same thing if it's an odd front, okay? And he's going to adjust his path to how he's playing it. Our quarterback is going to reverse pivot. He's going to make sure his backside is to the hole. He's going to take a 5 o'clock and a 7 o'clock step. So his footwork is based off a clock. So if he's standing on the clock, how he's going to rotate out of that is his left and right foot are going to fall at 5 and 7 o'clock. And he's going to hand the ball off to the H. We want him to make sure his back's to the line of scrimmage, that he has the ball in his sternum area, and he is not showing the ball left or right of his body. We want it to be in the middle of his body, so he reaches over and just hands the ball off to the fullback, either on the left side or the right side, depending on the play. After he makes the handoff, he is going to step another 5 and 7 o'clock, and the wing is going to go by him. He's going to just rub shoulders with that wing. He's not literally taking his hands and placing them in that wing's belly. He's just going to rub shoulders. So all the action is done from his sternum area. And then he's going to fake with a boot action off of that. Let's take a look at the play. If we're going on one trap to the 3 technique here, we have our center blocking backside. We have our left guard blocking down to backside inside linebacker. Our left and right tackle are ear-holing the inside backers. Our guard is pulling and going downhill and trapping. And our fullback is going to the butt of the center and then adjusting his path. Our X and Y are running off or stalk blocking, and our opposite wing is releasing in front of the hole, and he's blocking. So as you see this particular set versus an even front, this is what it's going to look like. Our quarterback is going to turn his butt to the hole, and the fullback's going to receive it on the right side of the quarterback, bend it up. Our quarterback is going to make another 5 and 7 step, and then he's going to boot fake out of it. But you can see what he's trying to accomplish here with this particular play. We're coming up inside, we're possibly showing off tackle and hitting up in the gut. We can take a look at it versus the odd front. In the odd front manner, we're going to trap the first guy past the hole. This is a zero trap situation. So now our adjustment is our center's blocking on and our right guard is blocking down and then working himself up to the backside inside backer. Both tackles are ear holing. Our guard pulling and trapping is going downhill, and we'll trap the 3 technique, 4 technique, 5 technique, the motion by our T. Our fullback coming to the butt cheek of the center and bending it off. Our Z is arc blocking in front of the hole to the strong safety. Our X and Y are stalk blocking and running off. Our fullback's handing it, our quarterback's handing off to the fullback, and then he's boot faking out. Okay. Let's take a look at this particular play off of our run mode. And you can see it in action here. Timing's a little bit off, but we have a good look at how it's going to look with the double team. And again, the key part of this particular play is the movement by our center and our guard on the zero technique, or our center on the backside block, and then our trap. Another key point, as I mentioned in personnel, is our tackles being able to get to that second level. If our tackles can get to that second level and block that, ear hole that linebacker down inside, it's going to make the play much more effective. This first one is going to be a zero trap. We're going to run to the right side. And again, okay, the center is blocking back or on, guard is blocking down to the backside backer, tackles are ear holing, and the guard is pulling and trapping the first guy. We'll see another trap here to the right side. Working it down, trapping up. See another trap to the right side. This is versus an even front. Here's a good look at it. We'll go in slow motion here. Center's blocking. We're getting to that second level on the backers. We're arcing and working it up. The outside backer took himself out of the play. We'll see it one full fast speed here. Getting to that second level. Pretty good ear hole blocks there. Pretty good stalk blocks. Pretty good runoffs. This next one is, again, another zero trap. We'll get a good side view of this. Center's blocking back. Tackles are getting to that second level. Trapping that first guy and working vertically. And we'll look at another one trap here. This one we're showing motion to the right side, but going left with the one trap. Center's blocking back. Got two ear holes. This particular time, he sagged inside and we worked him downfield. Our next play we're going to take a look at is our 6-7 power. In this particular play, we're running off tackle. We will attack either technique on this particular play, but we're going off tackle. Our wing is going to receive the ball. Our fullback's going to kick out. You can see the design of this play. We can hit it at A gap, B gap, or C gap. We're walling down the front side. We're kicking out the outside man, and we're working ourselves to that next level. And we're going to go through some of the blocking assignments with this particular play. This is one of our bread and butter plays. This is a play that we use probably 20% of the time in a game, maybe 40% of the time as a run game play. In our off tackle play, we will run with various formations. We will run an ace formation a lot of times, but we can run it out of our ruby yellow formation, which we went through. We don't run it out of our spread formation as much. Our alignments and our splits can vary with this play. We've gone from 3.5 splits between the tackle and guards to 4.5 splits. Our splits between our center and guards can be anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5. So we adjust, again, our splits to our personnel and how the defense is trying to stop us. In general, though, we'll run this out of our ace formation and ruby yellow formation. Our coaching points on this we're going to cover here, and we'll cover some of the aiming points by the positions. Our verbiage here, our center, again, like the trap, is blocking the backside A gap. If it's an odd front, he is going to block on. Our front side guard is blocking down, okay? Whether it's an odd or even front, he is going to block down and wall down that front side. Our front side tackle is going to block down if he has a forward technique. If he has a guy head up with him or outside shade of him, he's going to double team block with our wing. And we'll talk a little bit about the double team block. But we want movement on that particular man off and out of that area. Our backside guard is going to square pull and lead up the hole. Basically what he's going to do is he's the lead man up the hole to take care of another linebacker or possibly a secondary man. Our backside tackle is a cutoff block. He's going to take care of any problems that we have weak side. And if they're going to tackle us from the backside, we're a little too slow downhill. Our X and Y receiver, same thing as a trap. If it's man-to-man, they're going to run off and get the defender out of the play. If it's zone, they're going to stalk block and break down. Our Z and T here, in this particular formation play side, they're going to block down on this play. They'll work it either solo down or they'll work a double team. If they're backside, they're going to go in motion and be the ball carrier. Okay, motion and ball carrier. So they're going to do that same type of motion. The rows and load motion we talked about in the formation segment, they're going to do it. They're going to step, they're going to shuffle and kind of hop and then get their shoulders downhill and receive the football and attack. Our fullback is going to kick out block, and they're going to kick out block the first guy that's available there, outside the wing in the tackle double team or outside the wing. Our quarterback is going to reverse pivot. He's going to rub shoulders. As the fullback goes by, he's going to see the fullback go by, and he's going to rub shoulders with the wing at 5 and 7 o'clock. And he's going to hand the ball off. With various coaching points, we'll talk about here a little bit with the positions, but we have some little things that we really look at very hard with this particular play and make sure we coach it up the right way. Let's take a look at the play itself. Okay, this is our off-tackle power versus the odd front. The key here with our center is to make sure we have no penetration on the 3 technique. Now the cutoff block, if it's a 3 technique, our tackle is going to be involved in it. They're going to help cut off that 3 and make sure. So it's more situated towards the double team. Our guard is going to block down, making sure the 2 technique doesn't penetrate or play over the top or even stuff up the hole. If we can get more movement down inside, it's going to help us out. This particular play, we got our tackle and our wing double teaming the 5. Now the tackle and wing will double team and possibly get some movement. There's going to be some time where the tackle is going to vacate and work to that second level and pick up either backer depending on the situation. So in this one, they block and get movement, and then he vacates. The wing is going to block down on the 5-10. The guard pulling is going to square pull. And in this particular situation, we want to keep his shoulder square to that second level. So he's going to hop out of his stance, he's going to karaoke step, and he's going to work downhill towards the second level. He might turn it up A gap, he might turn it up B gap or C gap. Our fullback here in this situation is going to try to stay as tight as he can to the tackle and wing combo. Stay as tight as he can, and the first guy that shows, he'll pick up and block. Okay? Our quarterback, again, is going to reverse pivot. The fullback's going to go by. It could look as an illusion part of that shell theory. It could look like he's got the football right away, and then we're going to give it off to the wing. The quarterback is going to set up behind the tackle, faking our play action pass off of this. But again, the key is our wall down and our guard square pulling. We don't want to have any penetration across the line of scrimmage. We want to make sure everything's happening on the line of scrimmage or the other side. And our secondary support, we got to make sure we're taken care of. And that is our off tackle. Obviously, this play here is our 6 power, and we call it ace rose 6 power and running to the right side. Our 7 power would be run to the other side. Let's take a look at our odd front here. But you can see us with our double team on this particular area and working ourselves to the second level. And the double team on this area working up to the second level. The outside linebackers here are on the line of scrimmage. There's situations where we might wall them down rather than kick them out as it looks here. We're actually kicking them out. But this is what it's going to look like here versus the odd front. We'll cut off more. Instead of the 0 technique or 3 technique here, we're cutting off the 4 or 5 technique. Let's take a look at this play on the go. You can see the motion and working ourselves up to the next level. And again, the timing of this play is essential. On paper, it does not look as smooth as others, but the key is our particular wall down on the front side. And we'll stress steps, we'll stress pad level, but coming off the ball, as we mentioned in our philosophy, is one of our keys. Understanding the count, getting off the ball, and getting movement at the point of attack or movement on that front side. Let's take a look at this play live. Here is our off tackle play. This one's to our right side. All right, check that. It's going to be to our left side, I should say. But you can see, and I'm going to rewind it here, you can see us wall down the front side, kick out, and get up. Okay, see a little wider angle. An inside linebacker tries to run through, is a non-factor on it because of the timing and because of our motion. This next play is our off tackle. Again, we end up kicking out the 5 technique here, hitting this up B to C gap. Again, our front side is walling down, working it up, kick out. This time a backside technique, ended up tackling us. Pretty good play. Again, off tackle, walling down, kicking out, leading up. You can see the wide angle on this, but we're walling down the front side, leading up, and kicking out. This one is another off tackle here to our left. This one gets strung out a little bit, but the same philosophy. We're walling down, kicking out. The kick out ended up logging in, and we worked it up vertically. There's another off tackle here to the right, double team. We have an outside backer penetrate, so we kept it up nice and tight in the hole. So the key again is that wall down. Our next play is our counter play. Okay, our counter play, which we call our roll, 0-1 roll. We've shown our inside trap with our various formations. We've shown our off tackle power in our ace formation going in motion. Now this one is geared off the off tackle power. If we're running off tackle, Our misdirection off of this is this run play, and we call it our 0-1 roll. And this particular play, our wing is going to receive the ball. Very similar philosophy with our off tackle as far as walling down and possibly leading up. And this, we're walling down, possibly leading up, possibly trapping. So we combine a few different plays in here. But we're showing that we're going to run off tackle and coming back with a misdirection. And you can see the play here, and we're going to go through some of the verbiage here in a second. But you can see the play showing misdirection, coming back here, and the 0-1 hole nice and tight. So let's take a look at the verbiage. So our center here versus an even front is blocking backside A gap to the call. Backside A gap. He's blocking that gap, and then he can work himself up to that second level if we need him to. If it's an odd front, he's going to stay on and block either a double team or a triple team on that odd front. The front side guard is blocking down anybody on the line of scrimmage and then working himself up to the backside inside linebacker. The front side tackle is ear-holing that play side inside linebacker. That's a word that we used earlier in our trap session when we're talking about the tackle really getting a very aggressive and physical block on the linebacker and knocking him down inside. And if he can take him off his feet and knock him down, that's exactly what we want. The backside guard will block on if it's an even front. So the guy directly inside of him, either inside or outside, he'll block on him. If it's an odd front, we'll work him from a triple team to releasing up to that backer. The backside tackle is going to trap the first down lineman on or past the particular hole. And he is going to work that downhill, and he's going to try to gain some momentum as he goes downhill. Again, if you think back to our personnel we talked about in the 2 segments ago, we want a tackle that can not only physically block, but one that can run. And we looked at pass blocking as a main part, but also this person has to be able to run and generate a hole. Our X and Y, again, if it's man, they're going to drive the defender off and deep. If it's zone, they're going to stalk block. Our wing here, if it's the play side, he's going to motion and show that he's running off tackle. We run this play sometimes with no motion, and the other time, if he is backside, he's going to be the ball carrier on this particular play. So we run it in 2 different ways, and we can run it out of our various formations too. Our fullback is going to fill in for that pulling tackle. This block is a very important block depending on how that 5, 6, or 7 technique's playing. So he's got to stay very tight and replace that pulling tackle as quickly as possible and not allow any penetration in the hole. Our quarterback is going to reverse pivot and fake like he's going to hand the ball off and kind of fall downhill as he fakes like he hands the ball off to the running back. Then he's going to work himself off downhill towards the opposite wing. And then he's going to continue out as if he was faking a roll pass situation. So we have some various coaching points that I'll mention and we'll talk about here in the remaining part. Let's take a look at the play on paper. Here's what we're talking about versus an even front. We have our center and guard working hard on this double team, trying to get movement off the line of scrimmage. Again, it gets back to one of our main goals we talked about earlier, getting off the line of scrimmage, getting movement backwards, and establishing a new line of scrimmage on the other side. Our guard is going to work down to the backside backer. So we got these people taken care of up inside. We have our left tackle ear-holing, our right tackle pulling and trapping the next down lineman. Our fullback is replacing that 5 technique. Again, we want him to stay nice and tight so we don't have that 5 technique penetrating in or blowing up the play. We have some variations of this blocking scheme depending on how they try to defend us. Okay, but this is just of the upfront blocking. Now our quarterback is reverse pivoting, faking like he's handing the ball off to the wing on the left side, and then he comes back and he gives an inside handoff here to our Z. We want our Z to stay tight to the double team here, not so wide to the trapper. We want him to work himself up vertically and get a feel of that hole, and he'll see it develop in front of him. As you look at the tape, you can see we hit this play in various ways. We sometimes hit it on this A gap instead of this A gap. So depending on how the defense is playing us will depend on how we hit it. Again, with our quarterback and the handoff, this can be a very tricky handoff. We have to be very aware of our spacing. Our timing is essential. We'll spend 10 minutes each period in practice working on the timing of this particular play, because it does need to simulate that you're working your power, but time up well with the tackle, trap, and handing the ball off to the wing. Our X and Y are running off or stalk blocking. Let's take a look here at the odd front and our adjustments a little bit with the odd front. This one we're running the opposite way. We're going to run a zero hole. The key here now is our center and guard double on the zero technique, making sure we get movement back and then vacating off. Again, we'll sometimes triple team this with the backside guard working up. So it depends on the team, it depends on the opponent, depends on actually the skill of the D lineman or the linebacker. Again, we're ear holing, we're trapping, fullbacks replacing, guards working himself up, and then we're showing power coming back the other way, hitting it nice and tight. Again, we want to keep it as close to the double team block then more than the trapping block. If we get a good person that fights off trap, it will make it very difficult for us to hit up inside there. Let's take a look at the movement of the play. Coming in motion, working it back up inside. Again, timing is essential with this play. We'll work on this play a whole heck of a lot through walkthroughs and then full speed and then half speed versus shields versus defenses with various looks and various combinations. We do have a lot of adjustments with the three plays that we have run and how we adjust off it depending on how the defense is playing us. Here's the roll. I'm going to go load motion, zero roll, and you can see it. How we're double teaming, we're trapping, we're ear holing and getting to that next level. Outside backer came in. Here's another zero roll. Motioning, coming up. This is an odd front. We actually hit it inside the zero technique. So we worked up, and the way the zero technique was playing it, we hit it up inside of it. We go one roll here. They over pursued. We hit it just a little wider than the design. You can see it here with the motion showing power, coming up inside. The way they pursued it, the way we blocked it, we hit it up a little wider. And then another zero roll. This time we hit it up inside. Probably a little too tight for this particular play, the way the zero technique played it, but it was effective. Our next play we're going to look at is our outside play, and we call it our sprint right or sprint left. What we're trying to do with this particular play is get it out on the perimeter as quickly as we can. So we'll see maybe defenses playing very tight inside, and we want to attack them at a horizontal manner without passing the football. We want to do it running the football. So in this particular play, we're trying to get out on the flanks as quickly as possible. You can see it here off the playbook here. We're going to take a look at it as far as our blocking verbiage here now. Okay, what we're doing with our linemen, basically, from our center, guard, and tackle, is we are reach blocking with them. Either front side or back side, they're doing the same steps in their reach block, and we're trying to get them to run to the sidelines in their reach block. We'll talk about their steps, we'll talk about their coaching points a lot in the individual and work it into our inside run segment, outside run segment. But what we're trying to do is get them to step, get their inside shoulder and work it to their outside shoulder, the defender's outside shoulder, and run to the sideline and make the defenders run behind them. That's what we call our reach block. Our X and Y, they're going to either run off if it's man or if it's zone, they'll stalk block, very similar to what we had on the first three run plays. We will also do a crack block in there, which is a variation of that that will block on the safety. Our wing that is on the front side, the wing that's on the front side is going to block the outside linebacker or block basically the person, the threat to his right side. So he's going to step just like the linemen do and try to reach that outside defender that's head up or outside shade of him. Our other running back is going to run in full motion, just like we learned in our formation segment, where it's a Roger type of motion. That's the motion he's going to run in. Full motion and receive the football from the quarterback and hit the flank. Our fullback is going to sometimes block the backside end or fake a trap. On tape, you're going to see him faking the trap a lot because we try to hold certain defenders in certain areas, so we will show that fake with him. But we can have him block backside or show a fake. Our quarterback's just going to open to the ball carrier, and he'll boot fake off of that. We'll have some various coaching points that we're going to work in here. We can any type of defense, any way they want to defend it, as long as they are balanced on each side. Various formations that we have with this, we'll adjust. We can run it out of ace, spread, ruby, yellow, depending on how the defense tries to defend us. Our splits, as we mentioned earlier, can vary. We can go on general splits where we're 4.5 and 2.5, or we can go on wide splits or tight splits, depending on how the defense is, depending on how our personnel is. You're going to see some varied splits on tape that we show you. Here's a look at this. As we mentioned here, our front and backside linemen are reach blocking. They're stepping and running. They're trying to get their inside shoulder to the outside shoulder of the down lineman. So they're really trying to reach outside. Our wing is arc releasing and working this outside defender. If they can reach him, great. If he has to kick him out, he'll kick him out if he needs to. Our X and Y are running off or stalk blocking, depending on how it is. These guys are faking trap or blocking back. The timing between the wing and the quarterback is essential. If the timing is off, the 5 technique, the 2 technique, the outside backer, the inside backer can make this tackle with ease. We have to make sure we time it up where he's getting the ball and he's at the perimeter rather quickly. As we mentioned in the personnel segment, with our philosophy, we want our best athletes there. So we're hoping you're dealing with, a decent type of person that has a pretty good 40 that can hit that flank very quickly and time that up. So the timing wants to be right around B gap or less with them receiving the ball. Okay, so the quicker it is, the better it is for us. This is the even front. Let's take a look at the odd front. Take a look at the odd front. Same thing. We're reach blocking. We're handing the ball off. We're getting on the perimeter and hitting outside. A major coaching point by our running back is to run to the sideline. Don't worry about turning it up right away. Hit that sideline as quick as you can. Try to be 9 yards downfield. Those are two of the main areas we're trying to focus in on, is get to that flank, get to that horizontal area, and do it as quickly as possible, and then pick your running lanes. Let's take a look at the show. And again, we're trying to hit that flank. We're trying to reach that edge player, whoever the edge player is. We can work it up outside of him or inside of him, depending on how they're playing it. Let's take a look at it. Our sprint left, we're trying to get outside as much as possible. The way that the defense is playing it is they're over pursuing, so we cut it up inside and then work ourselves back up outside. Defense had pretty good job at stopping this particular play, but we stayed persistent with it and we were able to get downfield. This other particular play here is our sprint right. We were able to get to the edge. We were able to get to that sideline. The coaching point with this was very effective. The edge player came up, we were able to get outside, we were able to get a good stalk block and run downfield. You can see the guys up front. They're reach blocking and going and not running by a defender. Make them come underneath us. Again, this particular one, they're over pursuing, we're cutting it back upside, but it's very important that we're getting the guys locking on, making them come behind. If they come behind, we got to make sure we turn it up quick enough and get up vertically. We have one more here where they stop the edge, we turn it back up. And as we're reaching, we're locking on the defender, working to that second level. Our 50 progressions and our 50 read. We're going to take a look at the protection first before we get into this route. This particular protection is kind of like a gap protection, a slide protection to our right or our left, depending on our personnel. But with this particular protection, we want to be aggressive where we're seeking out and attacking that gap rather than laying back and absorbing that gap. Our linemen are stepping to a 45 degree to the right-hand side to their gap to the right. Okay, so they're coming out, staying low with their back flat, they're burying their face and their hand position inside the defender and trying to keep their hands down. So they're going to attack to the right with a 45 step, and then they're taking it back up with another 45 step with their outside foot. Our fullback is sealing or blocking that edge defender on the left-hand side in this case. So he's blocking that 5 technique. Again, he's trying to attack them as quickly as he can and stop any seepage. Okay, and you can see us protecting the C-gap to C-gap areas and trying to keep their hands down and give our lanes for our quarterback to hit our receivers. This is what we call our 50 protection, which is our short passing protection. Our rules by our center, guard, and tackle is block A gap to the right. The rule is gap first, on second, linebacker third. And again, we want them to be aggressive and step at a 45-degree step, bring another 45-degree up, and trying to work it on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And the front side guard has got the B gap, front side tackle C gap, backside guard A gap, and backside tackle B gap. Again, rule is gap first, on second, linebacker third. Fullback is a very important part of our protection rules. He has to get that C gap. And you can see versus the even front. A key part to our fullback is we have to make sure he's not getting out too wide and having that 5 technique slide inside of him and sneaking in there. So we want to make sure he's nice and tight and he's getting that 5 technique. If he goes wide out in there, that helps us. Okay, that helps us in our situation. Okay, let's take a look at an odd front. And again, with the odd front, we want to make sure we're staying square to the line of scrimmage. We're not turning our shoulders. We're making sure we're stepping at that 45 degrees, making sure we're keeping hands down. The outside linebackers, we got to make sure we got somebody on them. We don't want their hands to get up in the air and knock the ball down or even block a passing lane there. So this protection is a very good, sound protection for us, but it does take a lot of repetitions with it. Now, we just call this our 50 read. Okay, and we have some options out of our 50 read. This is one of our most important pass plays. We do this on any down, any part of the field where we're backed up or we're in the red zone or pre-red zone or on the goal line, we'll run this particular play. Our X and Y's has some options here. They can run an out, a slant, a fade, or a hitch, depending on how our opponent is, depending on how we want him to run versus various teams. Our T and Z will run seam routes. They'll get up on the seams in their vertical area. If you think back to our philosophy and what we're trying to do in our philosophy is we're trying to attack the defense vertically. We also want to do it horizontally. This gives us an option to do both in the same play. Our protection, as I mentioned earlier, is blocking the gaps to our right in this case, and our fullback's blocking left. Now, in this situation, depending on how the defense will play it, will depend on how we're going to run the route. If they're playing off, we have options. We can run a hitch, we can run a slant, we can run an out. If they're up tight, we can have options. We can run a slant or we can run a fade. If they're outside of us and up tight, we can run a slant or we can run a vertical route. If they're inside up tight, we can run an out route or we can run a fade route. So we have options with that. So depending on how the opponent plays us will vary up what route we choose for them to run. Okay. Again, depending on the defense, depending on the personnel, we've gone on it and this aspect and just went to one side only because that was a particular personnel we wanted to attack. Or we've gone aspect is we stayed away from one guy and wanted to go to 2 other guys. So we have some flexibility with this particular play. The key again is our protection, especially by our fullback, especially by our tackles and our guards and our center, and our quarterback having the availability and the arm strength to get the ball out on the flank or vertically. Okay, let's take a look at it versus an odd front, and depending on the type of coverage that we receive. But here's a good look at the odd front. Again, our wing position, our vertical routes automatically. Our X and Y are into different routes that we determine depending on how they are. But they're trying to get up, those wings are trying to get up on those hashes, as we mentioned earlier and saw in part of our philosophy. Our X and Y, make sure they're in their normal alignment and they're staying at their normal alignment and then getting out into their particular routes. Okay, here's our 50 read and our progressions off of this. You can see our protection up front. Let's rewind that and take a good hard look at it. I'll go super slow here. We're stepping at a 45. We're staying low. We're trying to be square to the line of scrimmage. We're trying to seal and get hands down. You can see this right tackle got his hand up. We didn't do as good a job there in that particular part protecting it. We simply ran a little hitch route here. The corner was playing off. We determined that. We made the catch and got up vertically. Same thing here, protection, another 50 progression, and we hit them left. Another 50 read here. We saw this in the goal line. As I mentioned earlier, we could run this particular play anywhere in the field, backed up or in the goal line. Same protection, we threw it up and we wanted our receiver to go get it. We were fortunate enough he came away with that football in that particular play. Here's another one, another combination of this. We run them on a slant and kind of vertically off the slant depending on how the safety is playing, and it was the same protection up front. It's another 50 read. This one, corner bites. We were able to get regular hitch and get vertically after he bit. Actually, we went with an out route, and we got vertically. I hope you enjoyed the information that we went through today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call or email me. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and take care.